George Corpsegrinder Fisher from Cannibal Corpse. I think the coolest thing is that you guys are back on the Rockstar Energy Mayhem Festival with one of the youngest lineups I've seen so far.
Well, do you guys feel like
do you guys feel like it's like you and Ice-T holding down the veterans these days? And really, you guys predate Ice-T by quite a bit.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. I think on the bus. Just obviously, I think probably collectively we're the oldest band. I mean, it's wisdom, I suppose, but yeah, look, it's great. It's good because it'll bring a lot. The younger bands bring a lot of fans that, maybe haven't, heard us yet, or maybe just heard the name, haven't checked it out. So that's the reason to do any kind of tour like this, is to be exposed to new people and, obviously solidify the fan base we already have.
More and more from kids, I'm hearing that you guys are the root, like where Sabbath was the root for all of metal for maybe our generation. You guys are the root for the new generation of all the death and all the growl and all the everything that has been coming out now. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that's a big honor. It's there are a lot of bands obviously that we look up to. If you ask Alex, for instance, in the band, to us, Possessed is like the first death metal band. Period.
In Bay Area.
And and so and then you have bands like Creator that were kind of like in the middle, like death, like thrash. Millie's voice is definitely in the style of a death metal voice. Celtic Frost, So those are the bands I think that really obviously predate us. As far as I guess modern death metal. We've been given, I guess, that mantle. It's not for us to give, We don't say it about ourselves. We're just happy to be here. And people feel like we're one of the, guys that, pretty much started it all as far as the modern era. It's a big responsibility to have. So hopefully we're carrying the torch, waving the flag correctly and, representing death metal the way it should be. We're old school. We've been doing this for a long time, and we want to keep doing it. We don't have any plans to stop. And I just, I know it's up to the fans. They're the ones that heap those things on you, and even the press. Like, they're the ones that are gonna, sure, we could say we're the biggest, but we leave it up to everybody else. And I think we've been doing a kick-ass job. We've been touring a lot for sure. I can tell you that much.
I think metal is one of those things that metalheads like to sit around and talk about metal, and it's usually if you're a metalhead, it's one of your top 3 interests in life, and you spend a lot of time on it. And now that it's been around for so long, you've got people who've literally been sitting around for 30 years talking about metal. We've developed a history of our own that's its own culture, completely separate from everything else, which is amazing to me.
Well, we've met a lot of people on this tour and on previous tours that are like, I wasn't even born when your first album came out, so that's kind of weird to hear something like that, There's people that born in 1990 and you're like, God damn, you know what I mean? I wasn't even in Cannibal at that time, so it's just, we're all obviously getting older. Time doesn't stop for anybody, so like I said, but we all have that same thing in common, I think especially for us, we probably have as much in common with any of the bands because of the fact that we grew up from the era we did, from like the late 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. You know what I mean? It's like we've been in all these eras of music, basically the beginnings of metal, from the beginning onward. So the kids that are coming up now, they're playing in different styles of bands. They're obviously haven't been influenced by either us or even Black Sabbath or Metallica or so we have something in common with all of them because they could definitely sit and talk to us about the bands, and of course a lot of them it's funny though. Oh yeah, I saw them then, and they're like, you suck, They're bitter because I've seen, and we all have been fortunate to see a lot of shows from bands that aren't around anymore, you know what I mean? And some of us actually have seen shows that the other guys, like I know Alex has seen some bands that I never got to see back in the heyday that I'm really bitter about. And so we always lord that over the, hoard it or whatever.
And how about the fact that you can see Black Sabbath and Cannibal Corpse this year? I mean, 30 years on, and you guys are both,
Yeah, look, listen, we're really fortunate to be where we're at. Look, there's a lot of hard work involved, make no mistake about that. But, obviously, it's not just up to us. It's up to us that we still want to do this, but I mean, in this capacity, being here at this festival, we obviously have to have fans. The fans are the lifeblood of metal, you know. All of us were fans and still are fans. I shouldn't say were, but all of us are still fans of music, in particular metal. So, you know, this was all of our dream, you know, and I think everybody here would say the same thing. And so we're lucky we're here, you know. And yeah, it's great that Black Sabbath is still going, and it's crazy that we're still going, you know, especially for a death metal band. I mean, that's the harder thing. But I think now that we pushed into like the mainstream, you know, we forced our way there, and hopefully with that comes other bands in the genre, you know, getting there as well. That's why when we do tours on our own, we try to bring, you know, bands that, you know, not many people know, or just other death metal bands, you know. I mean, I do like variety tours, but I do love just going back to you know, just their roots and playing with just death metal bands too. Because then the kids that are coming to see us here that never heard us, and they like the band, then they might come out and see us if we're touring with an Aeon or Immolation or, you know, somebody like that. And then they get turned on to a whole new world of music, you know. Because unfortunately, some people only listen to certain genre of heavy metal. I mean, you know, that's kind of just somehow how it is. Some people only like just like heavy metal. They're not in. They don't like the speed of, like, I'll say us, or the imagery or whatever, or like black metal. There's some things they don't get about it. So you gotta really push to I think live is the biggest thing. You got to push and play a lot of live shows, and hopefully those people catch you and go, this is not what I thought it was. Wow. So for us, that's what we try to do, and we're still doing it. And, I mean, I guess, well, 25 more years to be pushing it, but you never know.
Which reminds me about the new album. Where do you guys continue to find inspiration? Do you get to a point where you're like, if we use the word eviscerate one more time, or like at some point, do you feel like you start writing something and you're like, dude, we already did that, or anything like that?
Well, there's definitely, like, as far as the lyrics go, and especially, you know, when I was recording the vocals, there were a lot of like, oh, this was in this song, or this is in this line, you know, and I'm using it, you know, here, and then I'm using it for the chorus, so we got to change this line. There's a lot of that going on, because it's easy to just, you know, forget that you're using certain words over and over again, especially when your subject matter is basically just, you know, murder and, you know, blood and gore, violence. So that gets a little bit more challenging, but, you know, I mean, you know, we do what we have to do to try to get around that. We're very careful about it, and it's harder and harder every album. I mean, it really is, you know. But I mean, you know, that's kind of the fun part too. It's just, okay, we got to come up with a new word. Let's replace this line with that line, change this. And even with just like the music, obviously, you know, you don't want to keep playing the same riffs, you know. Sure, we might have songs that have a similar style, you know, like formula-wise, but in general, we always try to keep the riff a fresh riff. That's something we've never done before.
How's the recording process with you guys, the writing process? Does it begin with one or two guys, or is it very collaborative? You
know, everybody will be, you know, writing stuff. You know, everybody has their own equipment to record, you know, at home, and they bring it to the practice space and show everybody. I mean, it's been a little different, like, for this album. Like, we didn't really practice a lot together, like, really, like, with me at all. You know, I basically did the vocals on the fly in the studio. I mean, Paul went and did, you know, with Mark Lewis, he went and did some scratch tracks for the songs that he wrote lyrics for. And so he did that day, and then that night we went back to the hotel. So I just did my homework, listened to it, and came in, and then we just sang the songs. I never got to sing them with the band at practice. Never, not once, not one song on this new album. So that was a little bit different. It was kind of similar to Torture as well. It's kind of the same thing, you know. I mean, we've all been doing a bunch of other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, Alex has got a couple other bands. I've done 3 albums this year. One's not finished yet, so. But, you know, we've been doing this for so long. That's not really a hard part, you know. It's obviously just like a Pat writes stuff. He's got to show those guys the riffs, and they got to learn that. For me, like, learning the lyrics, the vocal patterns and all that, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's what I do, you know. It's my job, if you will, so. You know, the writing process was a little bit different here, but everybody usually writes on their own and then brings it to other guys. And a couple of times if those guys collaborate, it's obviously at the practice space, you know. Or maybe, hey, I have this riff here, I'll check it out, I'll send it to you, or something like that. You know?
Is there anybody on the festival that you're looking forward to seeing while you guys are out this summer?
Oh, Body Count. 100%, yeah. I mean, you know, and we know the guys in Suicide Silence. We did South America tour with them. And we know Trivium for a long time, you know, and we know Jonathan Davis and Korn. We met him a few times. He's you know, been a fan of Cannibal Corpse, you know, supporting us, you know. So, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I mean, we didn't get to see many of the bands yesterday. Body Counter playing on the stage right next to us, so I got to sit right while we were getting ready to play, and then I got to talk to Ice-T, which was awesome. Yeah, man.
What do you ask Ice-T?
Well, I was coming off stage, and he's like, "Hey, man," you know. He came up to me, so I was like, "Wow, holy, you know, that's really cool," you know. So it's awesome that he's, you know, totally into metal, and you know, he's like, you know, he's the star here. I mean, everybody know. I mean, he's television, movies, and he's been a rap legend for years, and now, you know, building the legend, a metal legend. So, oh, dude, he's super talented, and he was really nice. He was really cool. And I was just talking to him, you know, and I was just, wow, man, like I couldn't believe he came up to us, because I just, you know, I was kind of like not looking. I was going on stage, and he come up, "Hey, man, hey, what's up?" You know, and I was like, yeah. So I definitely look forward to watching them every day, and hopefully I can get to check out all the bands. And sometimes it's harder with stages being in different spots, but yeah, everybody, I'm really psyched. But Body Count, when I first heard the lineup, I was like, well, I can't wait to see you guys in Trivium and Suicide Silence, because we know them, they're friends. But as far as like bands I didn't know, people-wise, definitely Body Count for sure. I was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Now, off camera, I told you that the last time we talked, I asked you one question about World of Warcraft, because I kept hearing about it, and it exploded. Like, the World of Warcraft community was very angry. There's like a lot of pent-up aggression, I think, in the community.
You probably asked me something about like Horde versus Alliance. It would had to be what it was, because obviously
No, it wasn't even that. It was.
I got the tattoo, you know,
dude.
Like Horde and a lot of.
I just was like, hey, what's up with this? And do you really do it that much? And you said you had multiple accounts and that you were like super deep into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I still am. Excuse me. I don't know why. I mean, I know why people are so, you know, into the game. I don't know exactly what you asked me, so I can't remember like why they would have went crazy. But like I said, I think it would probably been about Alliance and Horde or something, because
I think you just have to say World of Warcraft.
Most Alliance people, they know my character names. I'm KOS. I'm Kill on Sight, you know. Because of course you'd be like, man, you know, if you knew Ozzy was playing Warcraft and you knew where his character was and you could kill it, even if you love Ozzy to death, you're still going to try to go kill him. Like, I killed Ozzy, you know? Come on, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in the game. So people knew. I did an interview with MTV. I think it was MTV2, and I said one of my character names. I spelled it out. Yeah, and it didn't help. It didn't help me, because I was getting badgered. Like, not really badgered.
Why didn't people want to be on your side?
Well, no. See, look, because you got Horde and Alliance. Okay. The Horde guys were all like asking, like, dude, man, is this really you? I love Cannibal Corpse. And of course, I was totally wanted to accommodate them and talk to them and you know, be an ambassador for the band and for metal. So, but you know, when you're doing like raids and you're trying to actually, you only have a certain amount of time to play on the road. You got things you have to do. It's hard to like sit there and chat with people when you're, you know, trying to do damage on a boss monster in a raid. You know, the guys in the guild that I play in, they obviously know that, you know, I'm in the band, and so when I'm slacking on DPS, they understand that it's, you know, sometimes I can just not be that good and get away with it just because I was just talking to some kid. You know. But you know, and then the Alliance people, you can't interact with them. You know, like I would have people like I had these guys camping my character, like killing me over and over. And this guy goes, "Hey man, my friend, he's the guy camping you. He wants you to come into his vent." And I'm like, "No, Dad, I don't talk to him. Tell him to stop camping me." I was getting mad, you know, because I'm trying to do something and they're wasting my time. So anyway, I went to the vent and I talked to him, and he's like, "You know, you just have really strong words for." And I'm like, "Dude, you're not supposed to like the Horde, and we're not supposed to like you. I know it's a game. I mean, I don't personally hate you, obviously. You know, just your characters I don't like." And so we talked, whatever. And then they left me alone. You know what I mean? But I felt kind of like, man, I told him, I said, "You don't have to leave me alone. I'm going to get out of here. And when my boys show up, we're going to kill you, you know." And he laughed, you know. So people are very, like, into it. There's a new expansion coming out like this. I think it's sometime this year it's coming out. Hopefully we're not on tour when it comes out, because I want to, you know, start playing right away. But I love the game. And people, yes, they're very, very passionate about it. They're passionate about their side, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you play the game, you know why. I mean, really, there's just so much to do in it. It's just never ending. They're always coming up with new things to make the old content. You know, people like to run the old content because they now let you take like old weapons and you can transmogrify them to look. You can have your new weapon, but it'll look like these older weapons. So these old classic weapon looks you can have. You know what I mean? You can go run the old dungeons and usually breeze through them by yourself. It's fun. It's look and the new mounts. You know, they had the pet battle system. I love the game. I can talk about it all day. Really, it's a great game.
That's an interview for somebody who knows more about World of Warcraft, because I know that I will already get killed just for asking you about World of Warcraft and not being on the inside.
Yeah, but you know what? People should understand it that, you know, the game is huge. There's millions of people playing it. So even someone from the outside that doesn't play it would just be, you know, I mean, wouldn't you want them to be curious so maybe they would start playing? You know, to me,
I'm one more person to kill.
Yeah, it's just, well, you know, well, you better play Horde. Don't play Alliance.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Alliance.
You're my only friend who plays World of Warcraft, so if I did, I would have to like.
Well, the other people would be your friend, but they're in the house so much playing it that you know you don't know that they're your friend. You haven't been able to meet them yet.
They're never out in real life.
Yeah,
they're taking care of business.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I've spent a lot of hours playing. Like basically, when I first got the game, I would get up in the morning, like because I could barely sleep because I was like, oh, I can't wait to start leveling again. You know. My first character, yeah, it was. I was really addicted bad, but now it's like I haven't been able to play as much lately because we've been really busy. You know, like I said, I'm doing 3 albums. But when the expansion comes out, whenever we get home for like an extended amount of time after the expansion's already out, I'll be doing more than a couple 8-hour days, easily.
Nice.
Seriously, 8 is being nice. It's being, you know. Probably might have to add 3 or 4 more on there. I'll definitely be losing sleep.
That's insane. You're just going to check out from the family for a little while and just be done.
Yeah, you know, I mean, well, especially if it's like, well, my daughters are in school, so when they're in school, like I get up, you know, my wife and I get up with them in the morning, and then the wife goes to work, and it's just me at the house, and I got all day to just, you know, play. But so we'll see how it all works out. I know I'm fairly certain I'm going to be on tour when it all goes down. So when the expansion comes out, but I've already pre-ordered and all that stuff.
You'll come in late, but you'll come in heavy.
Sure, I'll come in. I'll be ready to level. I know the cap is 100 now, so that's 10 levels that got to go. And I right now have like 8 90s, I think, or something like that. So I have 8 guys I need to level, you know, 10 levels. And the hardest thing is like you level through the zones, and for the first time you're like, yeah, you're seeing the zones for the first time and taking all the new content. And by the second time you're like, oh, I remember this. This makes it easier. You know where everything's at, so you know where to go. By the third time you're like, oh man, this zone again. You know, I didn't like this one. Yeah, and then by the fourth time,
and then you got 5 more to go.
Fourth time you're just like, click, kill. Yeah. But not really as much. It never really gets boring. I mean, because you start getting new gear for your different classes. It's one of the big things about Warcraft is gear, you know, like to me, you know, getting new stuff, getting epic stuff, you know.
That's a dude thing.
Going from greens to superior is like, oh, you know, so anyway, I'm geeking out right now.
And last thing is, since you had a recurring voice on Metalocalypse, has anything been happening with that? Last time I talked to Brendan, he said there was like some question about what was going to be the future.
Well, I haven't talked to him in a while, but I did the Doomstar thing, you know, and that was awesome. You know, I was grateful they let me, you know, be a part of that, you know, and it was cool because I normally do like talking, like I'm, you know, the Masked Assassin guy is, you know, he's just talking, but he's got that gruff voice. For that, I just sang. Like I went in the studio and sang like I would be singing with Cannibal, you know, all the parts that I did. So that was different, and I haven't talked to him about anything in the future. I hope that you know, they still have a place for me, you know what I mean, to do stuff. I love doing it. If not, though, I'm totally grateful that they even, you know, thought that much of me to you know, include me in it. And, you know, I'm flattered that, you know, Nathan Explosion, obviously I get compared to him a lot and vice versa. And I'm flattered that they even, you know, came up with that character and thought enough of me to do that. Brendan and Tommy, from the day that I met them, have been totally awesome. You know, they've been just great, man. And Brendan, yeah, it's really who I deal with more in particular now. And he's awesome, dude. So I love those guys. I have nothing great to say, nothing but great things to say about them, rather. And I hope that I'm, you know, not, you know, cut out, you know, because the assassin, you know, he died, you know. So,
yeah.
So I don't know what I would do, but
he had a brother.
His brother died. Yeah,
So
his brother was killed.
there could
yeah.
be many
You
brothers
never
or
know.
clones
Look,
or something.
That's all up to them, and like I said, I hope I'm able to keep doing it because it's been great, you know.
I feel like it'd be awesome if it was like a he killed my brother thing, and then just brothers just never stop coming.
Yeah, something along that lines. It'd be pretty cool. It'd be awesome, you know. But yeah, you know, I'm still totally stoked to do it if they would have me, you know. But we'll see what the future holds.
Awesome. Thank you. Cheers.